What's up, Fragrant World? Welcome back to another Stay Fresh production. My name is Justin Copeland, and on this channel, Stay Fresh Productions, we talk about everything dealing with fragrances. Any interest in that kind of content? You're in the right place. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Join the Fresh Squad today. Increase, elevate, enhance, improve, evolve your freshness. Your freshness being you bringing your best self into every situation, treating people with respect and understanding, carrying yourself with class and elegance. And we use fragrance as at least a starting place for that. You'll feel it, others will smell it. Now today we're talking about a topic that honestly I've thrown around for months and months and months. I don't typically like to do explicitly negative content on my channel, but I'm trying to look at it more as critical content. And I hope it will be helpful. That is the goal of this. We're talking about 5 fragrances that frankly I regret purchasing for one reason or another. Not to say that they are all bad fragrances, but I can say that the number 1 fragrance I absolutely do not like. They are ranked from 5 to 1, so 5 being, I don't necessarily dislike the fragrance, but I'll explain why. It's not one of my favorites, and then as we move through the list, it gets more and more severe. So let's dive right into it. So here at number 5, we're talking about a fragrance, a beautiful fragrance, don't get me wrong, from the house of L'artisan Parfumeur. I blind bought this from FragranceNet at least a year ago. This is called Nuit du Provence, and I have talked about it once or twice before, but it's actually been several months since I've talked about it, and there's a reason for that. It hasn't really been moving me, and ultimately I do kind of regret purchasing it because it was expensive. Even on FragranceNet I paid over $100 for this fragrance. I do believe it's kind of hard to find. It might even be discontinued. I don't think I can even find it there anymore. But what this smells like, it's lavender, leather, and iris. Just those 3 basic notes. Fresh aromatic lavender, maybe with a little bit of spice in there. A smooth, waxy, kind of leaning powdery iris. And we have a very supple leather. So it smells clean. It smells a little bit sweet, but in a very kind of natural floral way. Again, a little waxy, powdery, and the leather again is so subtle. It's more like a suede. And that's it. It's just 3 notes really. There might be more in here, but it doesn't really evolve. It doesn't really develop on the skin. It's a very simple scent. It's very linear. It's not very inspiring, but it smells great, but not for the price. So it's really the price here that I regret blind buying this fragrance, but it is beautiful. That is Nuit du Provence from L'Artisan Parfumeur. All right, here at number 4, this is a fragrance that, again, I do find it pleasant to wear, but it was simply disappointing. I did actually talk about this in a recent video that you can watch here about some of the designer fragrances I picked up this year. I blind bought this basically as soon as it came out, and I was immediately disappointed, and I'll tell you why. This is Armani Code Eau de Parfum. Once again, smells really good. It smells like Armani Code, and that is the problem. To my nose, this smells like the Armani Code that it came out back in 2006 or whenever it came out. It had presence to it. It wasn't beast mode, but it was strong enough. Over the years, they've watered it down. I used to have a bottle of a newer formulation years back, and it barely lasted 4 hours on my skin. I ended up getting rid of that bottle. This came out, and they basically rebottled the old version and are selling it to us for a premium. So that's what I have a problem with. I know people wanted Armani Code to last longer, and yeah, here it is. But it's just a shame that it has to come in a package of, we're gonna take it away and then sell it back to you. Not really cool with that, but smells good. It's just nothing new. I would prefer the Profumo or even the Absolute, so I recommend those 2 over this one. But again, it smells nice. That is Armani Code Eau de Parfum. There is a solution to all of this. We don't have to have failed blind buys. And there's a number of ways to do it. I talk about many ways of doing that here on my channel. And today's video is actually sponsored by Scentbird, who it's been years since I've talked about. They reached out, they wanted to send me some fragrances and asked me to share a little bit about their services and what they're doing. If you're not familiar with Scentbird, they are a fragrance subscription service. They have over 600 fragrances on their website. I think they had half that when I got started with them 4 or 5 years ago. So they've really expanded designer and niche brands, and they allow you to choose 1 fragrance per month. You receive, I believe it's 8 milliliters in these little lipstick style travel atomizers that, you see them everywhere, but they are effective. They're very functional. They come in a variety of colors here. And one thing that I do like, which you'll see here in a second as I talk through these fragrances that they sent me, is that it looks like they might be differentiating in terms of the quality of the atomizer when it comes to what scent you receive. So they sent me 2 designer fragrances and 1 niche fragrance. And the niche fragrance comes in like this almost matte rubber style atomizer that was actually kind of hard to take out of its little felt bag. And I was like, man, why is this so hard to take out? And I got it out. I'm like, man, this thing feels incredible in the hand. So it really feels premium, which is cool. And the cool thing is you pay the same amount of money for whatever fragrance you want to get. $16 a month. And you can receive, again, 1 fragrance of your choosing every month. I do recommend, if you're looking to expand your palette and to discover new fragrances, take advantage of getting niche fragrances. Again, at the same price as you would get a designer fragrance. You might as well. It's the same across the board. So that is my recommendation to you. If there's some niche fragrances you're looking to buy, I think your dollar is going to go a little bit further if you choose those in this service here. If you're not quite sure what to get, Scentbird does have a little quiz you can take online that kind of personalizes some picks or at least some suggestions that you might want to look into. Now let's talk about the fragrances they sent me, and these were totally blinded. I did not request these. They just sent me 3 fragrances and they were surprised when I got them. And this first one is from Bentley. This is called Azure for Men, from their For Men collection. And this is a really pleasant scent. This is kind of in line with your fresh, blue, citrusy, more summery style fragrances. You have some herbaceousness in here, so it's not just straight up blue aquatic. It is citrusy. You do have a little bit of sweetness from pineapple. It is a little bit herbaceous, again, maybe with a little bit of clary sage, a little bit of sweetness there too. And the tonka bean is here too, which you would expect in this kind of designer release. Again, ultimately smells very pleasant, very clean, very fresh. Again, a little bit fruity and a little bit sweet, which brings a slightly seductive edge to an otherwise fresh scent. Smells really pleasant. I would definitely recommend it as a simple, easy to wear, grab and go scent. Not my favorite one by any means, but it smells good. The next one up that they sent me here is no stranger. Again, this was totally blind. I didn't know what was coming. And one of these that came was Versace Eros. Now, as you can see, which is very thoughtful here, they've kind of matched the colors of the atomizers to at least the idea of the fragrance or even the packaging of the fragrance, which they didn't have to do that. It's very thoughtful. You probably already have this. You probably already smelled it. Nothing new here. Sweet, a little bit aromatic, spicy, very playful, uplifting, vanilla and mint and apple and maybe some citrus and tonka bean. An easy pleaser right here. Not my go-to pick that I would sample from Scentbird. Again, if you're gonna spend the money, you might as well get something a little bit more adventurous and more different. Which takes me to this fragrance, which I've never smelled in my life, and I've actually been meaning to try this house for many years. This is called Misfit from the House of Arquiste. And this is easily my favorite of the 3 that they sent me here. This is what I would spend my money on if I was going to use Scentbird as a subscription service. A very beautiful, kind of slightly fresh scent, but also kind of sweet, dark, and seductive. You do have an earthy patchouli in here. You do have sweet tonka bean. You have a muskiness in here from ambret seed. I see a dark brown when I smell this fragrance. It's sweet, it's warm. Again, a little bit fresh just for openness sake. Again, a little earthy. I imagine being in like an old library.
That doesn't sound very sexy, I know.
But a dark library under some warm light, lounging with friends or lounging with a loved one. It's classy, but it's kind of understated. It doesn't scream. I want to get to know this fragrance a little bit more. It smells really, really interesting. It's kind of transportive. Again, this is the kind of stuff that I would check out on Scentbird. So, cool thing is we got a special link that you can check out Scentbird to get you a little discount on your first month. I think you're going to pay $11 for your first month if you use our code at the link down below in the description. So make sure you check out Scentbird. Okay, continuing on with the list, here at number 3. Again, a pleasant scent, but this is one of those fragrances where I'm like,
another one.
Now, frankly, this was a suggestion from kind of an ex-reviewer. His name is Isaac, real nice guy. We used to talk quite a bit back in the day, and he had a channel with his sisters back in the day that was actually very entertaining, but they've taken a hiatus. He recommended this to me. He said it was a banger. I bought it. It was pretty inexpensive, so no regrets there, but I have yet to really wear this one time. This is from Lacoste. This is Lacoste Jaune or Yellow. And I don't even remember what's in here. I think there might be some pineapple. It's a very, very synthetic scent. It's very basic. There's so many fragrances, even in this realm, that I would choose over this. I do kind of regret buying it simply because I don't really wear it. So I have it here for review purposes. I'm being critical, I know. Yeah, it's decent for a cheapie. I mean, if you can pay like 15 bucks for it, I say go for it, but not my vibe at all. So that's Lacoste Jaune. Don't really care for it. Now here number 2. This is a fragrance that does not smell bad, but ultimately proved itself to be kind of pitiful. At one time, I do think this was better, but I think it has been reformulated. From the house of Bulgari, we're talking about the original Man. I think this was perfumed by Alberto Marias. What this smells like to me is basically a watered down version of Cartier L'Envol, which I believe came out after it, but I prefer Cartier L'Envol because it has much more presence. This stuff barely lasts maybe up to 5 hours on my skin, and by the time we get to that last hour, all it is vetiver. Just light, kind of no personality vetiver. It's very disappointing. It's very boring. Yes, it's pleasant. It's fresh. It is woody. It is a handsome fragrance. Again, especially when you first spray it on, but it has no legs and it dies out so quickly. Again, I would highly prefer the Cartier, and I would definitely recommend that over this one. So again, blind buy, kind of gone wrong in a way. Not an expensive scent by any means, but it is completely obsolete in my collection. That is Bulgari Man. Okay, here at number 1, as I said, we actually have a fragrance that I simply do not like. I don't even want to bring it up to my nose. This is coming from Penhaligon's. Unfortunately, yes, this is a niche house that I do enjoy, but this fragrance I don't enjoy. This is called Orange Blossom. Ugh, no, I don't know what is going on here. It smells like synthetic orange, like potpourri room spray. It's like something that would come in a Glade plug-in. Like, honestly, apparently a lot of people love this stuff. I was reading on Fragrantica before I actually bought it that people were just like, this is a classic. I think it's discontinued, and they're just raving about it. There seems to be a cult behind this, but no, this is not good. It's like a candied, slightly powdery, but kind of sharp and sickly orange blossom, flower note, of course, but there's this, again, potpourri kind of vibe. It smells very fake, and again, it's like candied. It's way too sweet for an orangey floral scent. I just don't like it. It rubs me the wrong way. It kind of burns my nose. As you can see, it's palpable here how much I don't enjoy this fragrance. I didn't spend a lot of money on it. This was actually a joint blind buy between me and my friend Corbin from Northwest Scent. He was at a store kind of outside of our town, said, hey, they got some fragrances here. We can't try them, but I can buy them if you want to pay me, and I'll bring it back. So he was looking at this one. I said, I'll take one too. It was like 40 bucks. So it was a total steal. He brought it in. He already smelled his. He said, tell me what you think. I already have my thoughts. I smelled it, and I'm like, absolutely no. This is not good at all. I'm sorry. I don't like this at all. If you like it, all the power to you. Keep wearing it, keep enjoying it. But this is a prime example in this list of a blind buy gone wrong. If I had a chance to try it beforehand, obviously we wouldn't be having this conversation. I would have not bought it. And that's why something like Scentbird could come in handy. If you want to spend a minimal amount of money on an amount of fragrance that's going to last you, 30 days, a full month of wearing, you can really see how you feel about it. If you dig it, of course, you can go get that full bottle, and you avoid the headache of having a bottle in your collection that you're simply not going to wear. So that is number 1 here. That is Penhaligon's Orange Blossom. Sorry, Penhaligon's. I love your stuff, but this one is not for me. So that is it. I would love to know, what are your failed blind buys? Do you have a top failed blind buy fragrance, something recently or something over the past few years that you thought it would be great, you looked into it, you read up on it, you bought the bottle, maybe you spent more than you should have, or maybe you didn't spend much at all, but either way, it's a fragrance that you just get nowhere out of. It has no place in your collection, and you regret spending that money. I want to know what that fragrance is. Again, everyone's taste is different, so just because I don't like something or someone else doesn't like something, that doesn't mean you won't like it either. So don't let my opinion sway you from trying something that sounds interesting to you. I want to stress that more than anything. This is just my taste. This is just my journey that I'm sharing with you, again, in more of a critical fashion. So I hope you found it at least entertaining. Please join the Fresh Squad by subscribing today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.